Hello guys, we know that sack farming has come to stay, where you use sacks to farm around your vicinity or even in a commercial setting, it's commercial scale. The question we should be asking ourselves, how do we get these sacks very, very cheaply? Because as of now, of recording this video, there's really no company, not to the best of my knowledge, that just go out there to produce these sacks for us to do sack farming. I know there are some companies that do grow bags, but basically the type of sack farming I'm talking about is the one we do with used sacks. So in this video, I'm going to show us my 5 very cheap ways of getting these sacks, even if you want to get them in large quantity. But I want you to also give me your comments how you get your sacks in large quantity. But let's go right into this video. Alright guys, my number 1 way is getting sacks from households. Now what I mean by that is you have stuff that they put in sacks. So after using those stuff, you just empty your sacks and keep them. It may not just be from your own household alone. You can gather from neighbors, and that way you'll be able to get quite some. This may not be large enough for commercial farming, but at least it is a start. So one of the ways to get sacks is to get from your household or from household of neighbors. But one secret is this: you should begin to gather them way before the farming starts, because if you have it in mind to do the farming, let's say in months, you can start gathering your sacks, start telling your neighbors to get you sacks that they want to throw away. So that's my number 1. Yes, my number 2 way is to gather sacks or get sacks very cheaply from poultry houses. For example, this is a particular sack. I can get this in large quantity from poultry houses because this is after they've used their poultry feeds, so they have this in large quantity. The beautiful thing about this is that you can actually buy them very cheaply. Now you may say, why not just go to vendors and just get your sacks? Let me share a secret with you. The vendors will go to the poultry houses or any other place I'm going to mention today, and they will buy them at the same rate you are going to buy, and now start selling to you at a very high cost. Now it is important that you know how to get your sacks very cheaply, because they will go a long way to reducing your cost of production if you want to plant yams, potatoes, or anything you want to plant. So number 2 is getting sacks from poultry houses. They get it very cheaply there, so take note of that. My number 3 place to get sacks very cheaply is to go to fisheries. Just the way we went to poultry to get sacks, we can also go to fisheries, because the fish feed, they come in sacks, and so when they empty them, they will have them in large quantity. Now the beautiful thing about some of these sacks for fish is that they are very durable. They are very durable. Now I'm not really advertising any sack per se, but I'm just giving you hints on places to actually get your sacks in very cheap amount, so that you can maximize your profit. So number 3 is to go to fisheries and get sacks. Now this is just one example. There are several types of fish sacks that you can actually get from your fishery. It is important you take note of that. My number 4 way to get sacks cheaply is to go to bakeries. Now in bakeries, of course, they use flour, and those flour, they come in sacks. This is just an example. Like I said, I'm not advertising any, but it's just an example. There are several flour sacks you can get. But I really love this one because it is large and of course very long. I can decide to cut this into two and do well with each of them. I've uploaded videos where I did several modifications. If you are new to this channel, try and go through some of our videos. You'll see several modifications that we have done. In fact, one of my largest tuber that I grew for the first time was from a sack like this. Because if you want to grow large tubers, you use large sack. But you can also still use this for seed yams, potatoes, and any other thing. This one, for example, not only this, you can just share it into two and use it to do as much stuff as you can. Now, another interesting thing about sacks that come from bakeries, that some of them, they can still contain remnant of flour that will serve as, to an extent, nutrient for the plants that you want to grow. That's what I have found very interesting too, but that's just by the wayside. So, a number 4 way is to patronize bakeries. You can get them very, very cheaply. They sell them in dozens and they are very, very cheap. My number 5 way to get sacks in large quantity, specifically in large quantity, is to patronize those that sell foodstuff like rice, beans, groundnut. You just go to the place they sell those things and they have a lot of used sacks that they want to dispose of. For example, this is a big sack. If I want to grow large tubers or grow yams in layers, more like a vertical sack farming, I use these sacks. They are very, very big, they are large, and they can contain quite large portions of soil that can enable you to do a lot of stuff. And you can get them where they sell beans and all those stuff. So this is one way I get sack from those who sell food stuff, and very, very cheaply. Now, I want us to discuss something further. There is a major challenge. I've just given you these 5 ways you can get large quantity of sacks. But the problem remains, these sacks that we are talking about, to a very, very large extent, many of them, if not all, they are non-biodegradable. I want to repeat that. They are non-biodegradable, which means they cannot really be broken down by microorganisms and get incorporated into the soil. Now, this is a little bit different from them breaking down. When I say breaking down, they can just disintegrate, that they will tear off because of the effect of sun and all that. But do they really get incorporated into the soil? That's an aspect we should be looking at. Now, that will pose a problem in the future. Even though we are trying to encourage this form of sack farming to improve urban farming, and that will help food security in the future. But I want to stimulate some thoughts. Can we not make these sacks biodegradable? Or can we not start making biodegradable sacks? For example, you want to grow 50,000 yam tubers, or you want to use 50,000 sacks, 100,000 sacks. You want to feed large communities. You will use these sacks, they are non-biodegradable. Will they not pose environmental problems? That is a research problem that we need to deal with. In the future, we need to solve that problem. I have proposed that we should start thinking about making organic sacks like this, specifically made for sack farming. We have abundance of resources that we can use to do that. Banana trunk, fibers from banana trunks, jute, and all that can be used. Let that become a focus. You that is watching this video, you can help in that direction. As of now, we are still stuck with these used bags. They are non-biodegradable. What is going to be your contribution? I want you to start thinking about that. But while you are thinking about that, I want us to look at this video that I'm going to put up here now, so that we'll continue to think about the best possible way to make these sacks environment friendly. Thank you for watching. God bless.